and we're recording another podcast episode number 49. Thank you very much for joining us today. Uh, my name is Yoras, and I'm here with my co-host Rain.
Hello, everyone. I hope you had a very nice Christmas season. Hope you didn't have time to watch our previous podcast episodes, but if you do, we're happy you're back.
Wait, what?
No, I was wishing them well. I hope that they were busy enough in a good way, in a fun way, that they didn't even have time to check the previous two episodes.
Okay, that makes sense. And
Maybe it didn't make sense.
It made sense, and hopefully now they have more content to listen to.
When they come back.
Yeah, as they do their chores, or whenever they listen to this podcast. So, yeah, seems like we're doing it. We're actually gonna hopefully put this one out before the New Year's. Potentially, not sure about that one yet. We'll see how it goes.
Well, you have 1 day of editing.
Yeah, and then after this, hopefully regular schedule, because it feels like we're recording quite a lot recently, but that's really good, in my opinion. Okay, so today we have a case. I already have a case that I want to talk about, and I was really interested in talking about this week. But you mentioned something about maybe doing a case related, to New Year's.
Yeah, that would fit the occasion.
In some way, and we have a case just like that.
Yeah, just to shed a light on those cases that were, shadowed by big events.
Yeah. Okay, so today we have 15-year-old girl's case, Katrin's case, Katrin Konert. She is a 15-year-old girl from Germany, and she has been missing for almost 25 years. Let's say the day after tomorrow, will be her 25th anniversary of her disappearance. So if Katrin Konert is still alive, she is 40 now, but something tells me that she's not alive. And I think that's the same opinion of the German police. German police also believe that this girl that we're going to be talking about today, who went missing under really, really weird circumstances. I've seen some people call this case the German Maura Murray's case.
Yeah, I read about it too.
It kind of has a lot of similarities to the Maura Murray case.
I agree.
And basically, on January 1st, 2001, 15-year-old Katrin Konert disappeared from a bus stop in Bergen under Dumme. It's a small town in Germany. Probably butchered it. She had spent that afternoon with her secret boyfriend, who was nearly twice her age. Her parents didn't know she was dating a guy in his late 20s. At some point in the afternoon, the two of them got into an argument, and Katrin was trying to get home to her hometown called Wadewaits. And Wadewaits...
You probably also butchered that pronunciation.
Yeah. Wadewaits is about 13 kilometers away from Bergen.
Not that far, to be honest.
Yeah, not that far away.
But these are so... this place that you just mentioned seems so small or so rural that I really literally never heard of it. Have you ever heard of this place?
No, I never heard about it. I think Germany has a lot of these small towns. I think it's impossible to
keep track of them.
To keep track of every town in Germany. Every small town. We're talking about very small towns here.
Like close to human settlements.
Yeah, like 3,000 people in a town.
Oh yeah, I read that the population there in 2023 was around 890 something.
So not even 1,000.
Not even 1,000.
Yeah. So Katrin's bus that was supposed to take her from Bergen to her hometown of Wadowitz arrived at the bus stop at 7:30, but at that point Katrin was gone. She was not at the bus stop. She has never been seen again. Over the years, the case has produced no physical evidence, at least none that is available to the public, from what I can gather online. Despite multiple people of interest and conflicting statements, we have a lot of different individuals to talk about today. You can even get lost with so many persons of interest. It's kind of crazy. I had to read this case like maybe 4 times, and I had to write down like special notes. Who is who and
I
who
got
did
frustrated actually, because it feels like there's a lot of like people that could potentially be involved, like who saw her, who might have done it, but for some reason there's no like really like detailed information about them.
Yeah.
Like really, really detailed, like their faces or like, I don't know, how old they were.
Or like their background.
Yeah, exactly.
So 5 years after Katrin disappeared, there was another strange thing that happened. Katrin's sister received an anonymous phone call with a very cryptic information. The lady only said like maybe 2 sentences, like the lady that called Katrin's sister. And she's mentioned something about Hamburg and something about a black BMW. And that was it. And then she kind of hung up. So we're going to be talking about that one as well. And 18 years after her disappearance, so this was on 2019, law enforcement stated that they believe that Katrin has been murdered, but they do not have a definitive theory to explain how she was murdered or who is the culprit. What are your thoughts about the case?
No thoughts, actually. Because there's not much information about it yet. You just gave us a brief idea about it.
Yeah, but you did some research.
Yeah.
Like your general, I don't know, because we're going to be...
Talking more into details.
Yeah, we're going to be jumping into details, but anything stood out to you about Katrin's case?
The boyfriend. It's very interesting because he was literally twice her age.
Yeah.
And I actually read some comments in Reddit. I think you also came across it, that in like small villages or towns in Germany, it's quite common.
For age difference?
For the age
between
difference,
the
because
relationship?
Yeah, not much people around the area, and I guess in a way I kind of understand, but it doesn't make it not weird.
I think it's weird, to be honest. Any kind of dude in their late 20s hanging out with like teenagers, it's kind of strange.
It's super strange.
I'm not gonna lie. But I think in these small kind of communities, maybe it makes a bit more sense. It's weird still, but I could see how it happens.
Yeah, because there's
no
less selection, I guess.
And this is early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how many people are on the internet in 2001 in Germany, so maybe.
Oh, by the way, do you know how close or how far this place is from, I don't know, major city? Because I did see it in maps, but I didn't really zoom out much.
I also didn't really zoom out, but to be honest, it didn't look like it's that close to
Anywhere.
to any major city. I think there were some, but yeah, that's a good question. I think it was pretty isolated, to be honest, especially for a 15-year-old.
I agree because, I don't know, from the picture it seemed like it's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. The town layout, when I looked at the town on the Google Street View, so it kind of felt like Lithuania 2025.
Hey, you know what we say? Germany kind of feels a little bit like a bigger Lithuania-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. When I looked at the Google Street View, yeah, like a small town in Germany, a small town in Lithuania. I was kind of surprised at how similar they look.
Also Poland, but Poland is like,
Yeah, also Poland, to be honest. Like, I guess we have a very similar
landscape.
Yeah. Pretty unremarkable landscape, I would say. Now, let's talk a little bit about what went down and who was Katrin. So, Katrin was 15 and she was a high school student from Wadowitz. She had some siblings, I don't know exactly how many, and I'm pretty sure you also don't know, because I'm pretty sure we're both reading the same...
There's not much.
We're both reading the same Reddit post here, and that's it. That's all we got. Like,
I mean, I did see an article in German, and apparently there's a YouTube documentary about it. Unfortunately, there's no English translation or even subtitles.
yeah, I've seen those as well. So basically, all of my information is coming from like this one Reddit article, and then I tried to kind of put Katrin's name in the Google search.
Not much, right?
I found some German stuff, but none of the German stuff kind of told us anything more than what this Reddit post is basically providing. So...
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Sorry, I did a Google map really quickly of Wadowitz.
Make sure you do the right one, because there's two Wadowitz or whatever. Yeah, it's probably this one.
And it's close to Hamburg.
Yeah, that's what I remembered. Yep.
It's not necessarily really close, but I guess the closest major city that you could say.
It's probably still 100 kilometers away.
From the looks of it. Wait 1 second, let me just do a quick Google search.
It still feels like it's a long way out from Hamburg.
Yep, 116 kilometers away.
Yeah, so it's not really close.
Yeah.
It's not really close to anything, especially if you're 15.
Oh yeah, I'd be really, really bored.
Yeah, you're basically isolated. So, Katrin was described as a bubbly girl. She was a communicative girl. I think she was maybe quite popular. She had some friends. She had a boyfriend that she started seeing in the month before her disappearance. So this boyfriend's name is Joachim. I think it's Joachim.
No way.
Joachim, I feel like.
Or Joachim.
Probably Joachim, to be honest, if it's Germany.
Okay, so we just did a quick Google search on how to properly pronounce the name. It's nothing like we thought. What did we first thought about?
No, it's Joachim.
Well, initially I thought it was Joachim.
No, this is
Joachim.
Joachim? I thought it was Joachim. Okay, so the boyfriend's name is Joachim. Okay, Joachim. And Katrin had been started to see him several months before her disappearance. Katrin met Joachim through her best friend, Stephanie, because Joachim was Stephanie's acquaintance. He was double her age, in late 20s, and he lived in Bergen, that small town we already talked about. Her parents were unaware of this relationship, but apparently her siblings and her friends knew that Joachim and Katrin were together. Also, something worth mentioning is that leading up to the disappearance, Katrin became more snappy and she was becoming more rebellious. Her father remembers one fight in particular because I think he caught Katrin secretly smoking. Another acquaintance reported that Katrin had confided in him the wish to run away from home, which he thought this was just a typical spontaneous teenage idea. However, after Katrin's disappearance, her father was actually convinced for a long time that she did in fact run away, and he even traveled to Berlin to look for her after an alleged sighting was made. And some sources say that this may have influenced law enforcement to look into the wrong direction initially, because it seems like that Berlin tip never really led to anything. As I've said earlier, it will be 25 years since Katrin has been missing, really soon, and maybe this is the year when we're gonna finally get some answers. Let's talk a little bit about the day of the disappearance. So this is all happening on January 1st, so I assume the big New Year's celebrations already died down. A lot of people are probably still sleeping or having really slow mornings. I don't know about you, but historically, like, the day after the New Year's is
A dead day, basically.
Very slow day.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the day, how it played out. Okay, so somewhere between 2 to 2:15 in the afternoon, Katrin leaves her parents' house in Wadowitz, and she tells them that she's gonna spend the afternoon with her best friend Stephanie, but in reality, she was about to meet her secret boyfriend Joachim. 10 minutes later, around 2:30, Katrin is picked up from a bus stop in Wadowitz by a friend of Joachim's. So basically, not Joachim picks Katrin up, but a friend of his who drives Katrin to Bergen, where Joachim lives. 15 minutes later, they arrive at Joachim's apartment and they start watching videos together. Not really sure what that means. That's just what we have.
Maybe it's just something innocent.
Maybe like movies?
Yeah. It's early 2000s, so it should be on a TV or something.
Yeah. Soon after she arrives at Joachim's apartment in Bergen, they start arguing over something. At 5 p.m., Stephanie, the friend who originally wanted to join up, Stephanie is the best friend of Katrin's, she sends a message to Katrin telling her that she wouldn't come to Joachim's apartment due to bad weather conditions. I'm not sure where Stephanie lives. Maybe in a different town, and it would be hard for her to get to Joachim's apartment. 30 minutes later, at 5:30 p.m., Katrin starts messaging a number of people asking for a ride home, because at this point she has been arguing with her boyfriend for some time now. 10 minutes later, at 5:40, Katrin calls a guy by the name of Sven. Sven is a friend of Joachim, and as Sven picks up the phone call, he immediately agrees to pick her up right away. However, Katrin rejects this offer because apparently she wanted to leave a bit later. So it's kind of strange because Katrin is calling all of these people, trying to get a hold of someone who's gonna give her a ride back. Sven, is there for her, but then she's like, you know what? Not right now. I still want to stay here for a little bit more. 20 minutes later, at 6 p.m., Katrin messages one of her sisters, asking the sister to tell their mother that she would be going home a little later, between 6:30 and 7 p.m. So she basically calls and she says, you know what, I'm going to be within the hour. The message was allegedly sent from a number that Katrin's sister didn't know about, but Katrin's sister also deleted this message, and then she informed her mother about what Katrin told, that, she's going to be back at around 7 p.m. So I think basically, for some reason, Katrin used someone else's phone to send this message to her sister. And I'm not really sure if Katrin even had her own personal cell phone or how she was contacting people throughout this whole day.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming she did. Because how else? But it's kind of interesting how this whole day feels like there's so many people involved.
Definitely.
Right? Someone dropped her off. She was watching videos with someone. She texted a lot of people, argued with her boyfriend. Sven offered, and she was like, yeah, no, later.
Yeah.
It's like immediately so many individuals are involved.
Yeah, that is true. A lot of people involved here. And then what happened next is that basically Katrin left Joachim's apartment at 6:47. So we don't know if Katrin had agreed with someone to get a ride or something like that, or was her intention to go to the bus stop, or even if her intention was to maybe hitchhike or even run away. So we don't really know under what circumstances she left Joachim's apartment, but I think we have a pretty good idea that she did in fact leave Joachim's place. 3 minutes later, after she had left her boyfriend Joachim's apartment, Katrin was seen walking past the church, and she was walking towards the bus stop. This was a sighting made by one of her friends that we're gonna be talking about later. 10 minutes later, another friend, I don't know of whose, but I believe this could be a friend of Katrin. Seems like Katrin knew a lot of people. A guy by the name of Martin. At 7 p.m., Martin drives past the bus stop. The bus stop which was supposed to take Katrin to her hometown of Wadowice, and he stopped at the bus stop. He offered Katrin a ride home, but Katrin rejected Martin's offer because she said, I don't want to drive with you, Martin, because you are driving like a crazy person. Apparently, Martin is known to be driving speedily, and it was a icy road that day, bad weather conditions, so she rejects his offer. I don't know. To me, it sounds pretty strange.
It's really strange for me as well. It's really strange how she reached out to a lot of different people and then rejected the offer.
Yeah, rejected the offer from Martin, but she's already most likely, drinking, having a boyfriend who's way older, all of these.
But they fought though. So I was always assuming that they fought and then she left.
Yes.
But then again, why would she reject Sven's offer.
It's not Sven, it's Martin. Oh,
No.
Sven. Yeah, Sven
Yeah.
was another guy. Yeah, sorry.
The initial one. And then she was like, maybe later. I need to go home a bit later. Why?
Yeah, that's a mystery. There's a lot of mysteries in this case.
Right? So
It's
I
just
was
one
like,
of, it's not even the only one. It's one of many.
yeah, my first take was maybe they made up. Maybe Katrin and her boyfriend made up and she actually wanted to stay a bit longer.
Or it could be other situations. Could be that maybe she didn't want to go specifically with Sven, but she was keeping him as a last resort.
I wonder what kind of message did she put out? Is it more like sent to all?
No, I have no idea.
Right? Or did she specifically, I don't know, one by one? Did she send a message to everyone? Because that would be weird if she was trying to avoid Sven in particular. Why send a message?
Yeah. What is weird to me, however, is that maybe she was also avoiding Martin. Because the point I was about to make is that she is, 15, probably drinking, probably being teenage rebellious, you know what I mean? Joachim was later found drunk and stoned in his apartment on the same day. So I think it's a good chance that, I don't know, she was about to also like drink and maybe even do some drugs with Joachim. It only makes sense, And now she's all of a sudden too worried because some dude is driving too recklessly on some icy roads. It feels like something, Granny would be worried about. Doesn't really
Yeah,
feel
but-
like a teenage rebellious girl who's already hanging out with dudes who are doing drugs and
That's true.
and getting drunk, and now she's all of a sudden
Being very cautious.
when she seemed like she was quite desperate to catch a ride back. And now this one person is, and now she's rejecting. So what are we saying? Are we saying that Martin is lying, and is Martin responsible for something that he's not telling us about? I'm not sure, because Martin, as I understand, was the same person who came out and who provided this timeline. So Martin, in my opinion, unless I'm wrong, was the guy who talked to the cops. So he came out, he told the cops, I drove past the bus stop, she was there at 7. If he is responsible in some way, why even put yourself in the picture?
True. There was always an option for him not to step up.
So maybe it really was a situation where he drove past. Katrin maybe wasn't necessarily afraid of the bad driving skills, because I really don't find like this is a credible excuse. Maybe she just didn't want to be with Martin. Martin was weird for her.
Or Martin could just really be a reckless driver, because I did read, I believe in the same Reddit post or maybe a different article, that day the temperature dropped again to sub-zero. So that meant there was black ice, aka the slippery ice. So maybe she was walking around, she felt it, and then Martin offered, knowing him as a, I don't know, reckless driver. She was like, okay, maybe not.
Maybe.
I mean, we're always just speculating.
I think that could also be a possibility. So at 7:30 p.m., the bus arrived at the bus stop, but Katrin wasn't there anymore. No other witnesses saw her ever again. No one saw her at the bus stop. There was a text that was sent from her sister to her phone. So I think she did have a personal phone. There we go. We have the answer. A text was sent, but what was interesting about this text is that it couldn't be delivered. I don't know exactly when this text was sent. the one which couldn't be delivered to Katrin. But what is interesting for me is that her phone is either turned off or it maybe ran out of battery. To be honest, that could explain why she was already sending the message earlier to her sister from someone else's phone, because her phone was most likely dead, actually, even at Joachim's apartment. So that makes sense, I think. So that is the timeline. And then I mentioned that there was this phone call 5 years later, after Katrin's disappearance. Katrin's sister received an anonymous phone call, and the caller on the other side was a female, speaking with a heavy Eastern European accent. She was speaking German, but a heavy Eastern European accent. So it could be a migrant who went from Eastern Europe to Germany. And the call lasted only a few seconds, and the person on the other end said, "I'm calling because of your sister, the one who disappeared." Then she said, "Black BMW, Hamburg," and hung up the phone call.
Yeah, if she thought she did something with it, she didn't.
Like if she thought that she provided something useful?
Something specific and crucial?
Yeah,
I mean, come on, BMW. And a black one. In Germany.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty common car.
I mean, it's a pretty common car here.
Yeah, I would say it's a pretty common car, probably,
right,
in Germany. And the call was later tracked to a phone booth in Nuremberg. Nuremberg is on the other side of Germany. It is 500 kilometers away from the location where, Katrin was last seen. The phone booth is located in a large industrial district of Nuremberg, which sparked rumors about a possible link to human trafficking. The card that was used for the call, so it's interesting, and I think I know what you mean by a card, and I want to also ask you, did you run into these cards growing up? Calling cards. I remember briefly that there was a time you would go to a kiosk or any kind of store and you would buy a calling card. So it's like this card that looks like a debit bank card basically, but you stick it into the phone booth. And then you could use the phone for a certain amount of minutes, depending on how much minutes your calling card had. So basically it's a way, I think it's in early 2000s, it was a way to call someone because you didn't have a personal phone yet. Because I remember my brother, my parents bought him this calling card when he was in summer camp. Because, we didn't have personal phones back then, unlike kids these days. So he would go to the phone booth, put in the calling card, and call my parents. That was the only way he could call back.
Yeah.
So,
that's pretty cool.
Did you run into these things?
No.
It's the first time you're hearing about it, right?
No, not really. I do have a vague memory of telephone cards, but I can't for the life of me remember how it was used.
Yeah, because in America, I'm not sure if they had calling cards. Because in America, always you watch the movies, they always put like coins, So I'm not really sure, but I bet they also had these calling cards. Anyway, so someone was using this calling card to give a call to Katrin's sister to give this really vague tip.
And the thing is, now my question is, by the way, Katrin's sister's phone number, was it ever made public? Or was it always private? Because, maybe they posted like missing poster signs, call this number. And now I'm wondering, whose phone number they put in there. Telephone number.
That's a good point, because I'm thinking, how would they know Katrin's sister's phone?
Yeah, if that information was never made public, then it's really creepy.
Maybe it was available.
Oh, yellow books.
I was about to say that.
But it's just so specific.
Yeah, it's very specific. I'm not sure how this lady got a hold of Katrin's sister's phone number. I will say maybe it's the reason why police considered this credible tip, credible enough to do a full investigation, locate the phone booth, all of that, because I suspect that Katrin's sister never got these types of tips. So maybe that's why she reported it to the police and they investigated, because she was probably also weirded out, like, who is calling my phone? How did they get a hold of my phone number?
Yeah, definitely.
Because maybe there was a poster, but the poster probably didn't lead to Katrin's sister's phone. The missing person poster probably led to a police phone number.
Mm-hmm. If they were that weirded out about it, then yeah, I agree with you.
And the card that was used to make this tip to Katrin's sister phone was also used for another 3 calls shortly before this one. The tip call was actually the last call that was made, but there were 3 other ones. One of them went to a deactivated UK mobile number. Not really sure what to make of it. This phone number has never been reactivated. The other 2 went to a detective in the homicide department of Berlin, but Berlin detective never picked it up. Maybe, I don't know, it was the holidays or something. For some reason or another, the detective didn't pick up this phone call. And the last phone call went to a business consultant in Hamburg. And all of this is some sort of a weird, strange puzzle to me, like pieces of a puzzle. Because you have Hamburg is, as you mentioned, the closest city to Wadowitz.
Mm-hmm.
This lady says BMW Black Hamburg. So she mentions Hamburg.
Yeah.
She calls a business consultant in Hamburg. We don't know any more information about that. She also calls a detective and a deactivated UK phone number. I feel like this is either complete nonsense or it somehow makes a lot of sense. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm also assuming that maybe she's somewhere around the area.
Oh, what do you mean?
Maybe that caller was a local from either Hamburg or...
They traced it to Nuremberg.
Oh, really? Okay, from the area.
Did she used to be in that area?
Yeah, she used to be from Hamburg, or she used to be close to where... I don't know. Where Katrin disappeared?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it seems like a weird connection to Hamburg.
So for me, it seemed like, and I think a lot of other people also mentioned this online, to them it seems like this, if this is real, then this could be a human trafficking situation where maybe Katrin is held captive and she shares this information with another captive female Eastern European migrant, human trafficked victim, female, and she shares her sister's phone number. Katrin gives this other girl, and she said, gives this other girl her sister's phone, and she said, if you ever get the chance to get to a payphone, call my sister. Say it was black BMW Hamburg. Or maybe when she made this call, BMW, because I just had this idea literally on the spot. This is literally, my brain just literally connected the dots here. What if this is not a vague tip? What if she's making 3 calls? What if she has a plan? Okay, I'm gonna call this phone number in UK. Maybe it's her own relative. I'm gonna call a detective in Berlin. This is the only phone number I have, and then I know a guy. I ran into a guy, he could help me in Hamburg. He gave me his number. And then, okay, these guys don't pick up. Okay, now I need to call Katrin's sister. And she calls and she says black BMW Hamburg, and someone snatches her phone. She escaped from human trafficking captivity for like a minute, and someone's got a hold of her again.
How did she have that telephone card in the first place, though?
Maybe, over the course of some time, she snuck one in.
Yeah, potentially. Although I'm a little bit curious as to how she would get those specific numbers that she called. Because there's no way that she would just, by her memory, dial them.
No, but maybe she wrote them down.
Took them with her.
And there is a captive lady from Eastern Europe in 2006. She escaped her captors for a few minutes, and unfortunately they found her and dragged her back into this industrial Nuremberg location. Or also another thought could be that her calling card ran out of minutes.
And then she was like, okay, yeah, I'll never call again.
Because they dragged her back into...
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you're going to the line of thinking she's just a regular person, and then her telephone card just ran out of minutes, and she was like, okay, leave that be.
So for me, it doesn't make sense to make this vague tip if you have ability to call again.
Right, to actually help solve the case.
The only way this is not a prank is if this is a human trafficking situation and the traffickers are literally like recapture her, and we never hear from this Eastern European lady ever again.
Yeah.
And I just had this thought. What do you think?
That could be a possibility, I agree.
All right, let's move past this clue. Let's move to another clue, because we still have... Man, I'm gonna go through these clues. We have a graffiti clue. I want to quickly mention the graffiti.
You also came across that.
Very sure we read the same Reddit post. There's only one Reddit post out there.
Yeah.
So I came across it. So in 2017, there was a graffiti found on the wall of the bus stop that Katrin disappeared from. It says, Bruce plus Bergen abused Katrin. Katrin's last name is misspelled. Instead of Konert, it's Konert. So someone made a sloppy job.
Sounds like a kid's work.
Yeah. Another graffiti that matched the same handwriting of this one was found on a different local bus stop, quoting a passage from a German author, Goethe. So it is unclear whether this was a prank or something more significant. We don't know who Busse is, but Jagern translates to hunter. And it's also a very common German last name. I just quickly want to run ahead here and say that I think that this is not relevant.
Yeah, just honestly, I could see how kids would just prank each other out in that same bus stop.
They read about something and wrote down. Actually, well, yeah, this graffiti came about 16 years after Katrin's disappearance. So if someone with sensitive information back in early 2000s, 2001, would he still go out there and graffiti a bus stop?
Would they even bother?
No, they wouldn't.
Plus, they misspelled the last name.
And there's all kind of crazy graffitis on that bus stop, because there's the bus stop pictures online right now, and the bus stop pictures right now, there's a big sign, F the police, and someone holding middle fingers right now. The bus
That's
stop
insane.
has F the police and someone holding middle finger. So I think it's a commonly graffitied.
It does look like
area.
a shed, though.
You seen the pictures?
Yeah, that bus stop weirdly looks like a shed.
It looks like a shed. I agree. All right, so given all of these interesting clues, now let's talk about the people in this case. I'm gonna mention several individuals, and I guess that's it. After those individuals, we don't have anything else, any other details. So let me quickly tell you. The first interesting person was reported by a non-local woman who reported a sighting of Katrin. Apparently, there was a woman who was lost, and she was driving through the town, or what she thinks was the town. She can't really recall which exact town she was in, but I think after some time, 1 year into Katrin's disappearance, maybe she had read it on the news or she had seen something on TV and it sparked her memory. And she reported to the police that she saw what she believes Katrin at that bus stop at 7 p.m., which would match the timeline. So basically, what this person also reported, she said that there was a black BMW car.
She said that?
She said, yeah, sorry, I just found it. What this person said, that she saw Katrin at the bus stop at 7, talking to a driver of a black BMW with a Berlin license plate. So once again, another black BMW, just like the Eastern European lady said.
Yeah, so somehow they matched.
Yeah. And I think the lady just drove past the bus stop. She didn't even maybe take a note that it was in any way suspicious.
As you would. On a regular day, you're just driving, you're just passing by. You wouldn't really take a note of every single thing you pass by.
No. So police, at first, they found her credible and interesting, so they brought her back to the town, to Bergen. And she couldn't identify the bus stop that she apparently had a really good recollection of the bus stop. But now when they took her to Bergen, and Bergen has multiple bus stops, it's not just one. Like there's maybe like 5-6 bus stops in the town. At least if you look at the Google Maps now, I looked and there's like maybe 6 bus stops. She couldn't identify the bus stop that she saw Katrin in. So police couldn't clarify if she actually saw Katrin. And police weren't even sure if this happened on the same day. But this was a pretty specific day. You wouldn't remember what you were doing on like January 23rd, But on January 1st, you usually remember what you were doing because it's a very specific day, first day of the year, usually a day off. It's a memorable day. So I think maybe that's why she did remember, because she was reporting this in 2002. So basically more than a year after the disappearance. So it seems to the police that it could have even been a different town entirely where she made the sighting. So they did not look at her as a credible witness anymore. What do you think about this sighting?
It's very interesting how the black BMW matches with the anonymous tip. That for me, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the same woman, but it doesn't seem so. If the caller had a Eastern European accent and this woman is completely German, the police would have noticed that detail, I'm assuming.
For me, it is a little bit interesting. There's two black BMWs mentioned here. One was related to apparently Hamburg. And if that was the case that I told you about, some unfortunate victim of human trafficking from Eastern Europe had a spare moment to make some phone calls. And if Katrin really was picked up by a black BMW, I also think it's not super likely, but I'm not necessarily saying it's impossible. Do you think it's possible that, this is real? That she was talking to someone black BMW and they picked her up and human trafficked her?
Man, that's a tough question.
But is it at least possible?
I could see it happening, yeah.
Like, it's possible, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely at least possible.
Mm-hmm. My biggest frustration here is that 2 people reported a black BMW. Is it safe to say that it's the same thing?
No.
Not at all. It's such a common car. And the color is so common. It's not like
red BMW.
Or like the case that we have, I don't want to mix it up, Paul Logan.
It was a red Ford Fiesta.
Red, orange-ish. So the color alone, you could distinguish it from the others, but the black BMW? Is there even a model reported? It's just so... This tip was so vague. Too vague to make anything out of it.
I agree that basically that I kind of understand why police kind of didn't focus in on it too much.
What I would do, maybe the police already did it, is check the amount of people who has a black BMW around the area.
Yes, that's a good idea. And I feel like they probably did it.
Yeah, they're the police, they should.
But to be honest, they did not know about a black BMW until 2002.
Oh, yeah.
So did they came back and looked at BMWs in 2002? That's a different question, because they only found out about any type of BMW. Well, first from this, witness, and then from the anonymous tip to Katrin's sister. None of these reports happened any time around the disappearance.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So they would basically have to go back in the town. And by that time, the black BMW could have been long gone.
Yep, I agree.
So let's talk about Joachim. Joachim was the boyfriend, twice her age. And they met through a common friend, Stephanie. Joachim had formerly been involved with a sister of Stephanie's and met Katrin when driving both of them home from school. So he was picking them up at school and driving them back. Joachim was part of a motorcycle gang. We don't know what gang, but it is mentioned. And he would take Katrin and Stephanie to the motorcycle gang meetings. So I'm not really sure if this is, like Hell's Angels meetings, or if this is just a few, like kids with some Motorolers.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I'm not really sure how serious this gang was. Joachim testified that he and Katrin got into an argument on the afternoon of her disappearance. When Katrin left his apartment, he initially offered her money for a taxi, but she refused the money. He said that she left the apartment alone, and he said that she insisted on hitchhiking, that Katrin was going to hitchhike. Later on that same day, Katrin's sister and the sister's boyfriend, I believe, they appeared at Joachim's apartment, because they already knew that, Katrin didn't come back home, it's getting late. They knew that Katrin was dating Joachim, they knew where Joachim lived. They went up to the apartment and they found Joachim drunk and stoned. So he was smoking weed also. And apparently he said, Katrin left his apartment and said that she would hitchhike. Apparently, a few days after Katrin's disappearance, Joachim and Stephanie went out to search for Katrin by themselves in the area. Stephanie still remains friends with Joachim to this day. Joachim's apartment has been thoroughly searched by law enforcement, and they did not provide any findings, or at least nothing that was reported to the public. What do you think about Joachim, the boyfriend?
I think it's super shady that he's dating someone minor, but let's set that aside for the investigation. To be honest, I do not think he's guilty. With the information that we have, of course, this is a very vague information and we need more. But so far, first of all, Stephanie, why would she be still friends with him if he's somehow a little bit shady?
So if Joachim is involved, the way he would be involved is he lets Katrin leave to hitchhike, apparently. Then he follows her a little bit. Martin, at some point, drives past Katrin at the bus stop. Martin offers a ride. Katrin declines the ride offer. Then, as Martin leaves, Joachim sneaks up on Katrin, abducts her, and potentially kills her. And he has to complete all of this within 30 minutes, because at 7:30 the bus arrived at the bus stop and Katrin wasn't there anymore. So the timeline is kind of like really slim here for him to complete it. It could be done though, I'm not gonna lie. It seems like it's possible. Later on in the day, his Katrin's sister found him drunk and stoned in his apartment. So is it possible? I think it's possible, but from reading the story, I got the impression that he was just drinking, doing drugs.
Yeah.
And he was probably not
responsible. That's the impression I got as well, though. Hey, who can never know? And the most frustrating part about this is that we do have information, but somehow they're all vague.
Everyone is missing some information in this case.
Right?
Now let's talk about Christian. Christian is another person of interest we have to quickly mention. Do you remember Christian? Probably not. So let me tell you his story. He is a friend of Katrin's, and he was one of the people that Katrin texted as she was still in Joachim's apartment looking for a ride back. there were rumors that Christian had a crush on Katrin, but he denied these rumors. At around 6:50, himself and his girlfriend saw Katrin walking past the church while the two of them were exiting a pizza restaurant in Bergen. So one of the reasons why we know the sighting of Katrin walking towards the bus stop is because Christian and his girlfriend had seen her walk there. So apparently Katrin had texted Christian earlier in the afternoon asking for a ride back. We don't know how that conversation ended. Maybe, Christian didn't even reply. Or maybe he replied, I'm with my girlfriend, we're eating pizza. Sorry, can't right now. Regardless, Christian and his girlfriend got into Christian's car because they were using a car there, and they drove past Katrin to greet her. So I think they, just said, hi, Katrin, what's up? But they didn't offer her a ride. They just drove past Katrin. So Christian drove his girlfriend to her home, and then he was driving back. So on the drive back, he would have had to pass the bus stop
The
again.
same way, yeah.
Yeah, so the weirdness about Christian is that he's a guy who apparently has a crush on Katrin, but he denies it. And to be honest, the timeline would put him conveniently around between 7 to 7:30 in the bus stop-ish direction. So for him, there is a avenue to pick her up, to be honest. So Christian at some point drives to the local petrol station that afternoon, past the bus stop, and at this point he says that he did not see Katrin anymore, so he did talk to the police, and he said, when I was driving past the bus stop again, she wasn't there anymore. Around 9 p.m. that evening, he arrived at his girlfriend's home again. So the interesting thing here is that his apartment and his car was surveyed by law enforcement for weeks with no results. So law enforcement found Christian suspicious enough to actually have people surveying him.
That's crazy.
What do you think about Christian?
I don't know. I thought it would be something like, just an innocent guy who had an alleged crush on her and then for some reason got tangled up into this mess. But if the police were convinced enough to...
They were doing full-scale surveillance on Christian. Weird. We have another guy. We have only one or two more guys here. Sven. Sven is a friend of Joachim. And Sven, I think we already mentioned earlier, he is the guy who at first agrees to take Katrin back home, but she says, not yet, a little bit later. We talked about it. It was kind of weird. Sven, on this particular day, he was spending the afternoon with friends. I think they were having some sort of a party. Makes sense. Probably the day before they were celebrating the New Year's. Now they're having a party, eating pizza, doing some, activities. So, as we talked about earlier, Sven initially offers to give Katrin a ride at 7:40, at 5:40, but Katrin refuses because she said she wants to stay longer. But at 6:40, 1 hour later, Katrin calls Sven one more time, and the call lasted a few minutes. So yeah, we don't know exactly what was agreed on the call, but a couple of minutes after the phone call, Katrin called him again. So now we have Katrin calling Sven 2 times. And that call only lasted a few seconds, the second call. And it is unclear what was said between them. or there was a agreement that Sven will pick her up. So the interesting thing here is that Katrin called Sven a couple of times, and the second call lasted only a few seconds. And she made those calls 7 minutes before she left Joachim's apartment. So as I understand, we don't know what was agreed. And I'm not sure if Sven provided any information of what was discussed during the phone calls. But the interesting part is that I think it's entirely possible that Sven could have arranged to pick Katrin up, let's say, from the bus stop. This would explain why Katrin declined Martin's offer.
Actually, yeah, I could see that happening. The second phone call?
Just to reassure.
Yeah, just to confirm, oh, are we going to meet there? Yep. Okay, bye.
Yeah, and that would make sense why she left right after that phone call. So some of the details in Sven's account of the rest of the evening don't add up. Sven claims to have ordered a pizza using his girlfriend's phone shortly before 7. The girlfriend's phone records show, however, that the last call was made at 6:18, and no other call to the pizza restaurant was made that night. He further claims he picked up his pizza right after the call, which no witnesses at the pizza restaurant can confirm. Although Sven claims to have returned to his friends with a pizza right after grabbing the pizza, no one seems to remember that. I don't know. Did they, like...
Well, that's a red flag.
Yeah, did they question his friends and they were like, oh, I don't know if he returned with a pizza, so is his friends like throwing him under the bus here? And Sven allegedly drives home around 7:30, passing the bus stop, and he does not see Katrin. Around 8:45 p.m. that evening, he meets up with his girlfriend to go to a bar. And apparently law enforcement initially failed to investigate Sven. And it took them 10 years to talk to the pizza restaurant workers.
10 years?
Yeah, they only talked, so maybe that explains why the pizza people didn't remember Sven going into the pizza spot.
Definitely.
But now it's weird because we have a guy who could have easily have arranged a meeting with Katrin. We have his friends kind of throwing him under the bus, saying, oh, we don't remember if he came back with a pizza. He did make a phone call to a pizza place at 6:18. Katrin called him at 6:40. So he makes a phone call from his girlfriend's phone to the pizza place at 6:18. 12 minutes later, 22 minutes later. 22 minutes later, Katrin calls him for a couple of seconds. You know, that second call with Sven. And then she leaves. So he would have to drive to the pizza place, grab the pizza, and to be honest, it would be a convenient time to also go to Katrin at the same time. His friends don't remember him coming back to the party with the pizza.
Is this... I wonder when the police interviewed the friends 10 years after?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because if it was 10 years after, what were you doing 10 years ago on...
No, definitely. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then he did go to a bar at 8:45. So if he is responsible for, or like maybe something bad went down, he would have had 1 hour to cover his tracks.
And then act normally as if nothing happened.
Yeah. And then
I feel like an hour is too quick to just bounce back and pretend nothing happened.
I think it's doable.
You think so?
I think you could do it in 1 hour. I think it's possible. Especially if law enforcement doesn't investigate you. And then you have 10 years.
To create a perfect alibi.
Yeah.
10 years though, that's really frustrating.
Yeah, so Sven is interesting. So now when we talked about Christian, remember Christian? Mm-hmm. Christian is basically...
Christian had 30 minutes, a window.
Right.
I remember earlier you mentioned like the time and he would have around 30 minutes.
Christian is the guy who was with a girlfriend, dropped off the girlfriend, was driving back.
Drove back in the same way.
Yeah, and had kind of the same route. Apparently had a crush on Katrin, but he says, oh, I didn't have a crush, blah, blah, blah. So he's kind of weird. Now we have Sven. Sven is even weirder.
Yeah, I would say Sven is like... Sven is like 10 times weirder.
Because he did have confirmed communications with Katrin. Mm-hmm. He for sure talked with Katrin.
Yeah.
He was basically the last person to be on the phone with Katrin.
Yeah.
And he was going out to pick up a pizza, so he was driving around at the same time when Katrin was also walking around. So it's entirely possible that they did plan to meet up. And it's, in my opinion, entirely possible that Sven could have picked up Katrin. Okay, last guy before we run out of guys is Martin. You remember Martin? We already talked about him a little bit. He was a friend of Katrin's. He was driving to his girlfriend. Dude, I feel like everyone's driving to a girlfriend or like hanging out with a girlfriend.
On a New Year's Day.
Everyone has a girlfriend in these
but
German
for some
towns.
reason, they were also involved with Katrin. Maybe as friends or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. He's driving to his girlfriend, Martin. He sees Katrin waiting at the bus stop at 7 p.m. He offers her a ride home. She allegedly refuses. She says that he's driving too risky and she is not comfortable with driving with him. He claims to have continued his drive to his girlfriend right away. He arrived at his girlfriend's house at 8. This is what he tells the cops. But this is inconsistent with what his girlfriend said. Martin's girlfriend remembered him arriving after she had already been watching the evening TV program for a while, which starts at 8:15. So it could be that he actually arrived at 9. So this would give him enough time to also be responsible. The drive from the bus stop to the girlfriend's apartment is only 2 minutes. So it doesn't make sense for him to drive past Katrin at 7 and then take almost 2 hours, let's say, to get to his girlfriend who only lives 2 minutes away from that area. So, and Martin is apparently the last person to talk to Katrin. So I would say Martin...
the most suspicious.
Martin almost feels like he is the most suspicious. The only problem with him, why I find him a little less suspicious, because Martin would have had to report this himself. Either he is a really stupid criminal, because if he killed Katrin, why even go to the police and report the sighting? So I do think that something's telling me, my gut feeling, that Martin is not responsible. So, or like, he could be, but I'm still kind of, for me, Sven is the big boy here. Like, Sven looks kind of weird. What do you think? Out of all, because we don't have any more persons of interest.
Martin, though. Yeah, what took him so long to go to his girlfriend, which was 2 minutes away?
I've seen someone on Reddit saying that maybe Martin was cheating on his girlfriend and he was meeting up with his side chick for like an hour and then went to this thing. And that would make Martin the most stupid, not just criminal, but individual in the town. He would be the the town's dummy, because he would basically involve himself in a missing persons case for no reason, and also give a dummy timeline when he's potentially cheating or doing a quick welfare check on the side chick, and he just bamboozled this information in his head, and he didn't connect the dots that the GF would find it suspicious that you took 2 hours to drive 2 minutes worth of road.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any other explanation. I can't think of anything. It could either be he's the one who did it, or he was doing something else for 2 freaking hours. I have no idea. It's so hard to say.
So we have more here, but we're not gonna do it today because, man, it's too much. We have another serial. I didn't even look into him.
Yeah.
There's a mention of a serial, I think, killer. Who it's a reach. His involvement is a reach. The only connection to a serial killer, maybe this is for some part 2 sometime later. Some dude from Germany who would drive around for hours in Germany and find his victims basically on the other side of Germany. It's a reach. It's like saying that Israel Keys could have been.
Israel Keys.
It's basically like Israel Keys, like when someone dies in a random place in America now.
It's always a possibility that Israel Keys did it.
So I think it's a reach. And out of all of these guys that we talked about, I don't know, man. Right now, for me, I find Sven's story the most suspicious.
I agree with you on that. Although Martin's
also weird.
Martin's 2-hour what did he do then is also extremely weird. Although I'm also open to the possibility that it could be someone we don't know. She could have just hitchhiked and a random stranger just took her into a forest, and unfortunately she met her end there.
Yeah, that is true. I think since Katrin said she was gonna hitchhike to Joachim, so it's possible that it's none of these guys.
Yeah.
But it would be weird that she would accept a ride from a random person.
But declined every single one that she knew.
Yeah, declined Sven, declined Martin.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Didn't ask Christian for a ride. So
actually, 1 second, because
there
was, when I was researching about it, I came across a German site, and it's just, there's really nothing much about it. It's just the one short paragraph, and says, January 2019, 18 years after Catherine's disappearance, investigators searched a wooded area for her body. An anonymous caller had given the police the tip, but that's it. I could not find any other information about this wooded area, this anonymous tip that led them to the wooded area, or anything about it. Maybe you came across any information about it?
Not necessarily. I do know that there was more tips that were not mentioned on the Reddit post that we read, and specifically because the Reddit post that we read, I think it's from 7 years ago, and I think this tip that you mentioned happened literally the next year after
2019.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. I have something. Yeah, I have missing person case, Katrin Konert. Police are asking for anonymous whistleblowers. It is one of the best known missing person cases in the north of Germany. The lead detective is firmly convinced that there are people who have not yet said everything they know. By this, detective means possible perpetrators or accomplices, but potential witnesses as well. After an anonymous tip in 2018 via the police portal, there is another person who spoke to Katrin on the evening of January 1st, said the detective. This person wanted to drive Katrin home at the time, according to his own statements. However, she refused. I'm not sure if they're talking about Martin here. I am reading a German site right now, and I'm trying to find more information, but I think basically, oh yeah, since 2018, it is clear there was another person who had contact with Katrin Konert after she left her boyfriend's apartment. The investigators came across this person through an anonymous tip. Above all, this anonymous whistleblower is interesting for the investigators. Therefore, the police appealed to the person to report again, and also to everyone else who can say anything about Katrin's disappearance. So I don't know if we have like details, what exactly was reported, but it seems like there's another mystery person. You find anything?
No, actually, I couldn't find anything else.
Yeah, me neither. It's apparently someone used the police system in Germany, submitted an anonymous tip. The tip was credible enough for police to consider that as a relevant information. And now they're asking for this person to submit another tip. Interesting, to be honest.
Very interesting.
I'm interested in that. So it seems like there could be some more developments here.
Yeah, and the mystery continues.
Yeah, I think let's wrap it up.
Yeah, this case has been. Yeah, once again, I'm just gonna say it's detailed, but not really, because usually the American cases that we talked about, there's like distances.
You have to really dig everything out yourself.
Yeah, and the names would be full names, and we could find them.
That is true. We don't even have a picture of any of the people that we talked about.
Yeah.
We only have a picture of the bus stop, and we have a picture of Katrin.
And we don't even know this exact bus stop, because with a little bit more information, maybe we could try to speculate where is that pizza place.
Yeah, and it's 2001, so probably the pizza place changed locations.
But then again, the police interviewed them 10 years after. So I'm assuming they're still there.
Or maybe they checked who was working
Potentially,
at the pizza spot.
Mm-hmm.
People change.
True. Yeah, I'm just a little bit frustrated about the lack of detailed information here, because it really would have helped out. Maybe, hey, the police have everything, and maybe if they couldn't really solve this one,
then no one can solve it.
No one can, yeah.
Yeah. Well, leave your thoughts, guys, in the comment section of our YouTube channel.
Hey, maybe we have German listeners who would get to find more information about it. Please let us know, because we're out here.
I know we have some German listeners.
Really? That's cool.
I know we definitely have. So maybe you guys can tell us what you know.
Yeah, maybe there's some information just in the German language and we couldn't translate it, or, I don't know, insider information.
Yeah, because those articles are German.
Mm-hmm.
So and just tell us, is this a big deal in Germany? Is this a big case for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, thank you guys, and Happy New Year's.
Yeah, we hope you'll have a nice party, and if not, hope you have a nice evening, nice morning, and nice start to 2026.
Yeah, we're gonna be back busy working on more research.
We'll be back on regular programming
Immediately, we're not taking any breaks, immediately jumping on more stuff, putting out more stuff as always. Thank you guys, and talk to you later.
Thank you very much for listening. See you.
Bye.
Bye.